What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the show. Today, we're going to talk about Stetson Bennett. He's had a pretty good preseason so far. I know he took a little bit of a hiatus last year, but man, he is back in full effect. And the question today and topic of today, and you guys in the comment section, I want to hear what y'all got to say. I brought on not only one of my best friends, man, the co-host of the show, Adrian Soup Campbell. He's a lifelong Rams fan and frequent member of the show. And dude, we're going to talk about, is Stetson Bennett a starting quarterback? Could he be a starting quarterback in the NFL one day? That's the topic. Could Stetson Bennett be a starting quarterback in the NFL one day? Soup, man, I'll let you go and take it away, and then I'll share my piece on it.
Look, man, I think you're being generous saying that he's having a phenomenal preseason. We've won two preseason games with some late heroics from him. Yeah. But those of us that have actually been, watching the game, watching him perform, man, if you're a Rams fan, your stomach is churning watching him play, brother. Like, Anxiety is through the roof. It's an interesting topic when you're talking about Stetson Bennett, considering how much production he had in college, right? And the success that he had there at Georgia, right? He's a two-time national championship winner with the Georgia Bulldogs, right? But I think, removed from that team, from all the players that they had on defense, which are all in the NFL now, right? All the receivers, all the running backs that are all in the NFL, right? These are starting caliber players that are in the league right now. He's kind of looked average at best. And granted, he had some stuff. He took last year off, right? Had some personal stuff, some mental stuff. He's just overwhelmed. And there's a lot of speculation about why he was out. I'm not going to get into that because until Stetson comes out and confirms this is what I was doing, I don't want to get into that. But what he has said is, he was really overwhelmed playing football, and he had done it for his entire life. And he never really got a chance to breathe. And then between those national title games, going to the draft, getting into camp, then getting into the preseason, it was a lot going on, right? But he took that break. But he's back now. So this is essentially his rookie season. And we've been seeing him get extended snaps in these preseasons. And what I like from him is, he's got good pocket movement. He has some mobility. You see him stepping up. It's just like, I don't know if he's not seeing the field. So I'm saying all that to say, answer your question, will he be a starter quarterback in the NFL? I think it has to be a unique situation, a la Geno Smith in Seattle. I don't think that Stetson Bennett, at his age, he's one of the older rookie quarterbacks, right? He's one of the older rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's 26, going on 27, right? Yeah. So he's already technically hitting the beginning of his prime, not entering it. And so by the time he would be eligible for his first contract, which would be in the year 2027, I want to say.
Yeah.
So he's going to be almost 30 years old getting his first contract. I don't know of a team that's willing to spend that kind of money, especially given the way that the quarterback contracts are structured right now. It's just going to be too high of an asking price. But I think for the right situation, if he could find himself in the Geno Smith situation, right, he could be a starting quarterback if it is a starting quarterback bridge situation where it's like, we want to find our guy, we want to draft somebody, but in the meantime, we have a pretty good roster. We just need a quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over. I think he has the potential to be that guy. If you ask me today, is he that guy? He's not. There's too many turnovers, and this is against a preseason defense, right? So these aren't even against the ones and twos. And if you look across all the ratings and stuff for what the Rams preseason offensive line is looking like, because none of our starters are in there, they're one of the highest graded offensive units in the preseason this year. They have multiple players that are graded out above 80, highest at their position for center, right guard, and left guard. They're playing extremely well. The unit has only allowed 4 pressures, 0 sacks in 2 preseason games. Once again, prefaces, it's the preseason. Can he be a franchise quarterback? Yes, but it's going to take him sitting through an entire NFL season, learning behind a veteran like Matthew Stafford or wherever he ends up going, because we don't even know if he's going to be on the Rams roster when it gets down to cut downs, come Monday, Tuesday. We don't know if he's going to be on our roster and stuff like that. But I think you see when he makes the plays off schedule, I think you see like there's the potential. And the guy that I want to compare him to, and I know you guys are like, oh, this is a bad comparison. I get it from a physicality standpoint. This is a bad, but the player that he reminds me of the most right now is Anthony Richardson of the Colts. Not because of all the physical gifts that he has, because Anthony Richardson is way more physically gifted than Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
But when I watch him play the quarterback position, Anthony Richardson, for all of his physical gifts, for all of the things that make him special, putting him in the pocket, making him sit and diagnose a defense and read the field and get through his progressions, just from the comfort of the pocket, he looks uncomfortable. Even you've heard reports out of Colts camp early that when they're doing these pocket passing drills with him, he is having a hard time making the right decisions and he's throwing picks. And these are drills with no pressure. He's just not reading it and seeing it the right way. However, when you get him in an off-schedule situation, which is where he excels, right? Because he's able to lean into all of his athletic gifts and making these off-schedule, him and Stetson Bennett are both gamers. They're going to find the open man and find a way to get it to him or take off with their legs and get some yards. So in that, like, there's a lot of viability for, especially for the way that the game is played now. Like, those players now have a place. But the things that Stetson has working against him are age, size. He's small. Like, he's small. We're talking Russell Wilson small without the bulk, right?
According to here, he's 5'11", 190 pounds. It's just, I just think Colt McCoy was a small.
Yeah,
that sounds like physical. Obviously, Colt McCoy just retired. Salute to him.
Yep.
But you know, that, like, even Colt McCoy is like, he was like 6'1", 212. You know.
Yeah. This is a small guy.
Yeah.
And you know how hard it is to sell an athletic small quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Like, Carolina Panthers, make no mistake, I don't care what they say, they're second guessing Bryce Young right now. They're definitely second guessing taking him number one overall, right? And that's not a dig at Bryce Young. That's just the facts of the situation. So for Stetson Bennett to be a starting quarterback in this league, it is going to have to be a Geno Smith type situation where you are not the future face of the franchise. You are the bridge guy to get us to the future of the franchise and keep us viable during that period of time. I can tell you right now, as a Rams fan, I'll scream if Stetson Bennett is the future under center. It can't be. It can't be. Just based off of what I've seen, it can't be.
So I'll say this. No, you bring up fantastic points. And when I say he's been playing pretty good, he's had some really good drives, but he's also had 5 interceptions in his last 2 outings. The stats right now, yardage, very impressive. I think he's first, 437 yards. Wow, that's really good. And the drive he put together at the end of the game the other day, that was phenomenal. 2 touchdowns, man. And then of course he had 5 interceptions. That's a lot. But
it is.
I feel like he's kind of getting out of his system. I feel like Rams fans got to be just a little patient, because technically he's still continuing his rookie year. He had to step away. Was it alcoholism? Was it sobering up? Was it mental health? Maybe all of them, right? There's something going on. But look, whether he continues even playing another down of football again, I'm happy he's just doing better. Just as a human being,
right?
I'm so happy and praise the Lord, I'm so happy he's doing well. But yeah, I feel physically he is a cross between Colt McCoy and Jalen Hurts. Now, Jalen Hurts, he's 6'1", but guess what? He could take a hit because he's 225 pounds. You know what I mean? You know, and Colt McCoy is like 10 pounds shy of that. But you know, Stetson Bennett, he has that athleticism, man, where he could be like really a play action hero. But here's the thing, that is not the way Matthew Stafford plays. You know, he's not like this super mobile guy. Matthew Stafford, I hope we get a lot more years of him, but we probably got maybe 1 to 3 more years of Matthew Stafford, if I had to guess.
Max.
So he's on the back end. I think we could look at bridge quarterback for now, but he does have an opportunity if he sees the moment, and God forbid, I don't ever wish injury on nobody, but it's football. It's a gladiator sport. This is what happens. Matthew Stafford goes down. Stetson Bennett is going to have an opportunity to reinvent himself.
Potentially. So
yeah.
I just want to comment on that, because there seems to be this speculation that no matter what, Stetson Bennett is going to be QB3 on this roster. I want everybody to keep in mind at home that Jimmy Garoppolo is QB2 on this roster.
Yeah.
Like, the Rams went out and got Jimmy Garoppolo for a very specific reason, whether I like that or I don't. Jimmy Garoppolo's number 2. He's suspended for the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
So that would technically make space for Stetson to be QB2.
Yeah.
I don't know, based off of the comments that Sean McVay has made when asked about Stetson's progress. It does not sound like Sean is sold on the idea of going with him as the rostered QB2 for those 2 weeks where there's a potential for Matt to go down. Like he hasn't given him any glowing endorsements in that regard. All he keeps saying is, I'm seeing progression from him. That is not what we're asking you, Sean. That's coach speak for no. This isn't QB2. And I think that's concerning for him because, like I said, he's on a very, fair or not, he's on a very condensed timeline. He really has this year and next year to kind of save his NFL career. Because he's got to show something within these next 2 years to save his NFL career. Because, like I said, he's staring down the barrel of almost being 30 before he gets before he would be eligible for his first deal. Yeah. That's not a whole lot of time to reinvent yourself, especially when you're already not starting and you're not putting out the greatest tape in preseason. If he was lighting it up, right? If he came out like CJ Stroud did last year in the preseason, then we're having a completely different conversation, right? His stock is going sky high. Yeah. But this is a guy that doesn't have too much of an upside from the business perspective of football. There's just not a lot of runway, and there's not a lot of teams that can afford to be patient enough for this guy to come along. That's why I'm saying he's got to put something impressive on tape. He's got to, I'm not wishing injury. I'm definitely not wishing injury on my own team. But he's got to stumble himself into a situation like Geno Smith did where Russ went down and he got extended snaps and he came in and he delivered. And that's what got Geno a chance to be the starting gig. That's what got him this third-year contract. It's going to take a couple extenuating circumstances for him to be able to highlight and showcase what he can or cannot do. Otherwise, this whole conversation is pointless. He won't have a chance to be a starter. He won't have a chance to have an NFL career.
Yeah. A couple examples of people who came in and balled out and bought themselves way more time. Literally, based off the information, they could have bought themselves another 5 years worth of NFL contracts. That's millions of more dollars, if you get what I'm saying. And, man, for example, Tyson Bagent is a Division II college football player, played for Shepherd University over in West Virginia. He came in last year, man, when Justin Fields was out, and he played some decent. I'm not saying it was great ball, but he played some really good football, and he's looked really good this preseason. Also, another example, Joe Burrow goes down. Then we have Brandon Allen. Yeah. Man, I forgot Brandon Allen was in the NFL.
Forgot about him.
Brandon, I apologize. I forgot you was in the league, bro. But Brandon, dang it, man, you showed people that, man, you might be one of the best backups in the league. So, obviously, and we've seen it with Geno Smith. Geno Smith was a backup. He got an opportunity, boom, and then that turns into a 3-year contract worth $100 million.
Here's a question that and this is definitely something that we could dive into at another time. But when we're talking about these guys getting second chances, do you think guys like Geno Smith, even a Baker Mayfield, right? This is a guy that's got a second and a third chance, and now a fourth chance. And then he ended up getting that contract, and I'm happy for Baker. But do you think that their draft stock, right, their draft status is also something that enabled them to hang around long enough to get that opportunity? Because we're talking about Geno Smith as a first-round quarterback. Yeah, Geno Smith was a first-round quarterback. Baker Mayfield was a first-round quarterback. For point of reference, Stetson Bennett was taken in the fourth.
Yeah. So what Stetson Bennett has is, again, you mentioned it, 2 national championships. We were talking earlier about Colt McCoy. What does Colt McCoy have? Even though he lost in the end, national championship, right? He was a proven college quarterback. So you're holding on to that. And then when he was with the Washington, they were called the Redskins at the time. When he was with the Washington Redskins, you saw flashes where they were a pretty darn good team. Now, unfortunately, with Colt McCoy, he had a lot of injury issues and stuff like that, but he kept buying himself more time until, boom, 14 years in the league. Man, that's pretty darn good. You were so long, I forgot you was in the league, man. So there's that, right? You get drafted later, but then you also did some things when you were in college. Whereas the guy who was like, all right, he's going to be a 3rd-round quarterback. For example, okay, here we go. New England Patriots, Joe Milton. Joe Milton showed late game heroics when Hendon Hooker could not play in that bowl game.
Yep.
That is why, and then we got a whole year of tape with him last college football season. So yes, he was a late day 3 pick. Forgive me, round 6, round 7.
Yeah, round 6, round 7 for Joe.
Yeah. So late day 3 pick. But we're going off of what we saw in college. Okay, if it's not championships, man, you better have some type of moxie like Joe does, right? So that's just one example. I think a guy like Spencer Rattler, he is. Man, you better take advantage of every single rep, man, because you could literally get cut, even though you were a day 3 pick. Because guess what? You did not have. I think he did win his bowl game or got to a bowl game in college,
and he showed up well. Flashes. Yeah, he showed up well. That's what I'm saying. when you take the field, you have to capitalize on these opportunities. Outside looking in, right? You're not a Rams fan. When you watch Stetson Bennett play, is there any part of you that says, yeah, we could use that on Miami?
Not as a starter, no. I wouldn't say a starter, but what I could say is that he's still developing. He's getting this out of his system, man. But then, and the proof is that last drive he had the other night where he put the team on his back and making these phenomenal plays. I'm like, wow, we got to remember Peyton Manning threw, and I know Stetson Bennett is technically in his second year, even though this is kind of his rookie year still, extended rookie as we call him, right? But with Peyton Manning, he threw 29 interceptions his rookie year. And I'm not saying that Stetson Bennett is going to go on to be the greatest of all time, but he could be buying himself more time based off of him putting the team on his back. Another example, Skylar Thompson for the Miami Dolphins. Tua was out for a little bit. He balled out. Also, Skylar Thompson wasn't expected to make the roster at all. Skylar Thompson ended up 2 preseasons ago. Fun fact, he was the number 1 rated quarterback of any quarterback throughout preseason, and that has bought him more time. So essentially, the goal is to buy yourself more time where you can, number 1, develop. Number 2, take and have a starting opportunity in the league. Thank you for watching another episode of The Touchdown with Doug Smith, where we have exclusive NFL content and exclusive NFL interviews. Be sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. Follow us on social media. See you on the next one.